Hey guys, this is the last video, I believe, that I will be making in my series on whether there are any negative side effects from using aluminum oxide or silicon carbide abrasives on high hardness, high vanadium content steels. For this test, I will be using my Maxamet Spyderco Mule Team with blade and Maxamet at about 68 Rockwell. The edge bevel is about 15 degrees per side. The current finish on the edge bevel that you may be able to pick up in the light is from a 90-watt Aotoshi 2000 grit stone, also known as the Green Brick of Joy, and that stone is known to give a polish closer to a 4,000 or 5,000 grit JIS grit rating waterstone rather than the 2,000 it's rated at. And I used it as a transition stone between a DMT extra fine, which I used to reshape the edge bevel after I'd completed the previous round of testing. And now I'm going to use the Spyderco medium sintered ceramic alumina bench stone, which is basically aluminum oxide turned into a solid block. And since this doesn't shed grit, the alumina on the surface gets rounded over time, so these become finer. So I'm using this stone last because on the one hand, this stone should have the highest likelihood of provoking any bad effects from using aluminum oxide on high hardness, high vanadium content steels, because this can't even expose fresh, sharp pointed aluminum oxide abrasive to compensate for the abrasive being softer than vanadium carbides. And secondly, because this doesn't shed grit, I can get a nice crisp, clean apex line off of this using edge leading strokes, which means I can get a very high level of push cutting sharpness off this stone, which will give a very good comparison to a DMT extra fine, since, and I'll insert this in the video, they are relatively comparable in terms of the finish they leave. If anything, I would say the Spyderco medium actually leaves a finer finish than a DMT extra fine. So I'm going to put some mineral oil on this because I never ever use any solid sintered ceramic abrasive or diamond plate dry or with water. I prefer to use mineral oil because it does the best job of preventing the metal swarf from sticking to the stone. So it prevents loading the best, in my opinion. So just check the front here. Okay, so it's push cutting at 90 degrees across the grain. So now, once again, we get out the pine. Okay. Alright, I think that speaks for itself. But hey, I still got some cardboard, so why don't we use it? Okay, now we're starting to finally get some loss of the high sharpness. Although, not really that much. Hell, we'll use the rest of that cardboard piece I was using before. Alright, maybe one more piece. Yeah, here we go. I got another piece of cardboard here. So there you have it. A Spyderco Mule Team in Maxamet at 68 Rockwell off of a solid sintered alumina ceramic bench stone, carving up well more than twice as much pine as any of the other apexes, and 3 or 4 times as much cardboard, and still being able to, at most parts along the apex that was used for this test, push cut newsprint across the grain at 90 degrees.